Mike and Carol Daly have been married for 53 years. Like more than 5 million American families, they're dealing with dementia. Carol has been suffering from Alzheimer's, the main type of dementia. How old are you now?
65 now. I think, right?
Yeah.
30.
Carol's memory had been spotty for several years.
I started to notice it at home, and I used to joke about it to my kids. I would say, I think she has Alzheimer's, the way she forgets everything.
Then a doctor told her she really did have Alzheimer's.
Carol, when you heard the word Alzheimer's, what did that do to
I
you?
was devastated because I saw his mother, what she went through. It's terrible. She was walking the streets in the middle of the night, and we had to bring her home.
As Carol's memory deteriorated, she lost her job at a bank and lost her ability to do a lot of what she'd always done at home.
They told us Carol's illness had brought them closer, but they feared the future.
My fear is, I guess, maybe it getting worse, and it probably would.
And 3 years since our first visit, she needed constant watching.
I can't go out by myself, or like that. So, I always have to have somebody around.
That's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
You've lost your independence.
Yep. But that's what you do.
Mike and Carol's story isn't an isolated case. It's just another example of the Alzheimer's epidemic we've been living through in recent years. But is there hope for memory loss? Well, according to researchers at Ohio University, there is. And if you've passed 50 and are forgetting where you put your keys, what you went to a certain room for, or have a family member showing signs of cognitive decline, then pay attention, because in the next few seconds, you'll discover how simple ingredients used at home can strengthen your memory, protect your brain, and help prevent the first signs of Alzheimer's. And listen, it's not enough to do memory games or take the same old medications. If you go down that road, it's only a matter of time before you see your loved ones become aggressive or end up in a nursing home. There is a right way to use these ingredients. And if you follow what I'm going to explain here, it's possible to reactivate the brain's cognitive functions again and see surprising results in just a few weeks. So get ready. What I'm about to reveal is aimed at a special group of people like you, who refuse to accept that forgetfulness, mental confusion, and Alzheimer's are just normal consequences of aging. And look, if after putting this into practice you don't feel your memory sharper, more focused in daily life, and clearer in the coming weeks, I'll delete this video immediately and record another one apologizing publicly.
That's when I found this elephant trick. And I'll admit I didn't believe it at first. We had already tried everything, but something told me to give it one more shot, and thank God I listened, because in less than 3 months, the change in my mom was just unreal. She remembered the recipe for the cake she used to bake when I was a kid. She called me by my full name, something I hadn't heard in months. She even started playing with the grandkids again, like someone had flipped a switch inside her.
This strategy gained momentum after scientists discovered that the real cause of memory loss isn't age or genetics, but rather a silent brain toxin. And by eliminating this toxin, it's possible to protect the brain, improve memory, and keep the early symptoms of Alzheimer's at bay. And the best part? By combining the right ingredients, you don't need to spend money on expensive medications, nor follow complicated and hard-to-maintain therapies, and certainly not spend hours on exhausting mental exercises. You just need to learn how to prepare the so-called elephant trick, a secret from the pharmaceutical industry that has been exposed for everyone and is going viral in recent days. And I understand this might seem like one of those exaggerated promises from the internet. Honestly, I thought that too at first. But in just 6 weeks, I saw my own mother go from a state where she didn't remember who I was, to someone who remembers names, appointments, addresses, and who above all remembers what it's like to live with independence. And it wasn't just her. Big names in Hollywood are also turning to the elephant trick to keep their brains active and avoid cognitive decline. Anthony Hopkins, for example, the oldest actor to win an Oscar at 83, has already revealed that he uses this trick to keep his mind sharp and continue acting excellently.
After I turned 77, I started forgetting what I was saying in the middle of sentences, and it was ruining my career. That's when I discovered this trick and learned how to strengthen my brain. Now, at 84, I'm back to performing at a high level. I even won an Oscar.
Michael Douglas, at 79, shared in an interview that he's always feared Alzheimer's as there are cases in his family. But since he learned this trick, he's kept his mind active and is performing as if he were in his 20s.
I've always been afraid of struggling with memory loss or Alzheimer's. I have a family history of degenerative diseases. When I turned 70, I saw my mind start to fade. That's when I started looking for something that could help. That's how I found this solution, and I haven't stopped using it since. It's cleared my mind and helped me regain the sharp thinking I was losing over the years. I feel like it's created a protective barrier around my brain.
Meanwhile, you might be there trying to remember where you left your keys, cutting back on sugar, drinking more water, doing everything right, but still feeling like your memory is failing you day after day. At the same time, others are regaining focus, clearing their minds and reversing signs of Alzheimer's in just a few weeks, just with the right ingredients from the elephant trick.
At first, I thought misplacing the keys was just me being distracted. You know, typical for my age, until the day my mom asked where her brother was, the one who had actually passed away 15 years ago. I felt a lump in my throat I still haven't been able to shake. We chased down doctors, supplements, prayers. Desperation pushed me to try anything that could help, and that's when I came across the elephant trick. I won't lie, it sounded crazy. But when you're clinging to even the tiniest spark of hope, you'll try whatever you can. I started using the trick with my mom, not expecting much, but what happened next was unlike anything we'd tried before. Her mental fog started to lift. She began remembering the names of objects and people. And even though it's only been a month, her progress has been incredible.
I know it sounds crazy, but don't worry, because in the next few seconds, you'll understand exactly how this works. You'll see the proof, the studies, and how this discovery can indeed protect your mind, improve your memory, and keep Alzheimer's symptoms away. And the best part? You'll learn how to do this at home, simply, quickly, and affordably, without having to change practically anything in your routine. The most impressive part? This solution works at the root of the problem, the brain toxins that cause cognitive decline, and it's exactly how to eliminate that I'm going to show you now. I'm genuinely excited to hear your testimony after you apply this natural strategy, because in the end, this isn't just about remembering names or where you left your keys. It's about feeling like yourself again, feeling proud of your active mind, speaking with confidence, making decisions clearly. It's about your children, grandchildren, and friends looking at you and realizing that the strong, brilliant woman is still there, more alive than ever. It's about no longer fearing forgetting the names of those you love and realizing that you're taking back control of your life without depending on anyone. I could list many other changes you'll experience with this discovery, but I'd rather you try it for yourself. So without further delay, let's get straight to the point. Hi, my name is Mark Harrison. We've all seen someone struggling with memory loss and thought, that will never happen in my family. And yes, I believed that too. After all, with more than 2 decades leading revolutionary brain health research at Harvard Medical School and the prestigious Memory Disorders Research Center at Johns Hopkins, I thought I knew everything about preventing memory loss. During that time, I published over 300 scientific papers in journals like Nature Neuroscience and the New England Journal of Medicine. Research that has been cited more than 1,000 times by other scientific discoveries around the world. Stanford University invited me to lead their Alzheimer's prevention research program, and I was a scientific consultant to the FDA on 3 approvals of neurological medical procedures that today help thousands of patients. But none of that prepared me for what I discovered when my own father started losing his memory. In recent years, my focus turned entirely to the brain and memory, especially to memory problems that change a person's life. Why? Because I watched my father, a brilliant man who never forgot anything, lose his memories, piece by piece, during what should have been the best phase of his life. That's when I realized that all my knowledge meant nothing if I couldn't help the person who mattered most to me. And of course, to give you a clearer picture of what my father went through and how we overcame it, I invited him to share this story with you. Hi, Dad.
Hi, son. Good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Let's get right to it. Tell us how it all started.
Well, at first my thinking became slower, but I ignored it. Then I started missing important meetings at work. That's when I realized something was wrong. I couldn't remember colleagues' names during meetings. That really shook me. And son, you know how I was always good with numbers and business details.
You were the best at that. You never missed a single detail in a contract and remembered every client's name perfectly.
But I lost all that. My mind just didn't work the same way. The worst part was not being able to follow a conversation anymore. The words, they just vanished. I couldn't maintain a train of thought. I started isolating myself and didn't want to see anyone anymore.
That's why you suddenly retired, right?
Yes, I couldn't handle it anymore. Every day was a blur, everything mixed together. I started making dark jokes about losing my mind, about ending up in a nursing home.
Many people think these memory problems are just part of aging. That's a dangerous mistake. I need to tell you about the night everything changed. It was a Thursday night. I'll never forget it. My father was cleaning his old service pistol, something he'd done dozens of times. When he finished, he looked at me, but his eyes were different, cold, strange. He raised the gun and said,
"Who are you? How did you get into my house?"
My blood froze. "Dad, it's me, Mark, your son." But he didn't lower the gun.
"You're lying! My son is 10 years old!"
I tried to stay calm, but inside I was terrified. My own father was pointing a loaded gun at me.
"If you don't leave now, I'll shoot!"
His finger was on the trigger. I could see him trembling. Somehow, I managed to calm him down, slowly, speaking softly. When he finally lowered the gun, it was as if he'd awakened from a trance. He completely broke down when he realized what he'd almost done that night. I called the best neurologist in the state. After several cognitive tests, the doctor confirmed what, deep down, I feared.
"I'm sorry, but your father is in the early stages of dementia. We can try to slow the process with medication, but that's all we can do."
At that moment, I felt like my father was dying in front of me, but not a normal death, where you can say goodbye, mourn their passing, and keep the memories. It was as if he was being murdered in slow motion, day by day, neuron by neuron, while I watched, completely helpless. The man who taught me to ride a bike, who built an empire from scratch with his own hands, who could remember every family birthday and recite entire poems by heart. That man was being erased. And the worst part? He knew it. I saw in his eyes the silent terror of realizing his memories were disappearing, that his words were getting jumbled, that the faces of the people he loved most were beginning to become strangers. My father had dreams. He wanted to teach his grandchildren about business, travel the world with Mom, build that lake house he always talked about. But all of that would be ripped away from him piece by piece, while his body remained there, breathing, like a cruel reminder of the extraordinary man he used to be. Within 2 years, at most, he would need 24-hour care in a nursing home. The doctor prescribed several medications, Dinda, Exelon, AOSP, and even a new one called Donam. Dad, can you tell them what those medications did to you?
I tried everything. I took all the medications they prescribed me. But as soon as I started taking them, my energy just disappeared. I became exhausted like I had never felt before. They also destroyed my stomach. I lost 20 pounds in just a few weeks.
Wow. Did you try anything else?
Everything: fish oil, omega-3, nootropics, even those supplements from Walmart. Nothing worked. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
And it makes sense that none of that works. Now we know that these medications and supplements don't treat the real cause of memory loss. That's why they often make things worse instead of better.
It was the darkest period of my life. Everyone started treating me differently, like I wasn't the same person anymore.
That was the lowest point in my father's life. He had always been a strong, competent businessman, but the memory loss triggered moments of total confusion and fear. Hours later, he would remember what had happened and completely break down. As a son, I felt helpless, watching everything happen before my eyes. I didn't know if I could help him, but I knew I had to try. So I dove headfirst into research. I studied every possible treatment, medications, surgeries, experimental solutions for memory loss. And what I discovered shocked me. A study published in Alzheimer's Research and Therapy revealed that 98% of memory medications fail in clinical trials conducted by big pharmaceutical companies. In other words, 98% of these drugs don't prevent, slow down, or minimize memory loss. At best, they temporarily relieve some symptoms. Even so, pharmaceutical companies keep launching new drugs with one single objective: to take money out of your pocket. That's why Big Pharma makes over $700 billion every year, according to the FDA. And with all that money and influence, they have every reason and every resource to ignore or even censor natural solutions that could help you recover the memory you thought you had lost forever. But there's something they don't want you to know. There is another way. And that's why I'm sharing our story today, because what happened after that changed everything. After discovering all this, I felt like I was stuck, not moving forward. I spent weeks away from my wife and children, completely exhausted. But honestly, I was never going to give up on my father. That's how he raised me. So I continued. And in the end, my persistence paid off. After countless hours of research, calls with experts, and consultations with memory professionals, I finally discovered something remarkable. A groundbreaking study by Dr. Richard Jones from the Neural Research Institute. In this study, Dr. Jones's research revealed something fascinating. He showed how our daily life today is completely different from what it was 50 years ago, and what I'm about to tell you now might shock you. Because this changed everything I thought I knew about memory loss and cognitive decline. Look, every day we're breathing polluted air, eating food full of chemicals and microplastics, and contaminated with things like PFAS and heavy metals, real toxins, infiltrating our bodies every day. Now here's the scary part. Here in the United States, the situation is getting worse. These toxins aren't just destroying people's health, they're literally burning memories to ashes. It's gotten so bad that even major newspapers and TV channels can't ignore it anymore. They finally started talking about it. And listen to this. According to a landmark study by Dr. Richard Miller, published in Nature Neuroscience, and involving over 10,000 participants, these toxins mess up our bodies. They increase blood pressure, spike blood sugar, and steal our sleep. But that's not even the scariest part. Harvard discovered something even worse. These toxins are actually hunting and devouring something vital inside your brain. That's why today these toxins are called brain-eating toxins. And what they're devouring is the most precious substance in your mind, acetylcholine. But what the hell is acetylcholine, you might be wondering. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter fundamental for various bodily and brain functions, including memory, learning, muscle contraction, and regulation of the autonomic nervous system. Remember those family photo albums? The ones where you just had to flip through and you'd already feel like you were back at Christmas '82, your daughter's graduation, or that family trip to Florida, without even having to think much. That's exactly how acetylcholine works in your brain. Think of it as your mind's photo album. When everything is working right, everything flows naturally. In other words, acetylcholine is like your brain's Google, the substance that helps you instantly remember names, faces, and memories. Remember your youth, your 20s and 30s? It seemed like everything was easy back then, right? No forgotten appointments, no blank faces, no embarrassing mental blocks. But here's the problem. The longer you live, the more toxins accumulate in your body. And the more of these brain-eating toxins you have, the less acetylcholine your brain can maintain. And what happens then? Your acetylcholine levels plummet, and your memory starts slipping through the cracks. At first, it's subtle. Maybe you lose your keys, or forget what you were saying in the middle of a sentence. But then it gets worse, much worse. Eventually, your memory becomes so damaged that even familiar faces start looking strange. The people you love most start looking like strangers. It's like watching your family photo album being burned, page by page, memory by memory. And now studies from Stanford's memory lab are proving what we feared most. Low acetylcholine levels, memory problems, high toxin levels, it's all connected. That's why these toxins are called brain eaters. They're literally eating the acetylcholine in your brain. And the worst part, you can't escape them. Recent research from the Environmental Protection Agency shows they're floating in the air we breathe. They're hidden in our spices, sugars, and processed foods. And get this, the same research found that over 200 million Americans are drinking water contaminated with these brain-eating toxins. Are you still wondering why almost 7 million Americans are facing serious memory problems? The sad truth is that right now, countless people are watching their precious memories disappear. All because of these toxins. Maybe now you're thinking, but shouldn't our body have some kind of defense against this? And you're absolutely right. But just when it seems like it can't get worse, scientists discovered something truly disturbing. Look, your body does have a natural defense system against these toxins, a protection that should keep you safe. But modern life has destroyed even this last line of defense. Let me explain. Your brain has a natural cleaning system that works while you sleep. Think of it as a nighttime cleaning crew, sweeping away all the toxic waste. The problem is that now you're being bombarded 24 hours a day by something that's literally frying this system from the inside out. Radio frequencies, Wi-Fi from your home, 5G from cell towers, Bluetooth from your car, GPS from your phone, telecommunication towers scattered across the country like an invisible network of interference. You can't escape them. These radio frequencies pass through your home's walls, follow you to work, to the mall, especially when you're sleeping. And each of these invisible waves is silently sabotaging your brain's cleaning system at night while you sleep. When you can no longer clean house during sleep, these brain-eating toxins accumulate like toxic waste. They just keep building up, day after day. Ever notice how just one bad night's sleep leaves you more forgetful, with difficulty concentrating? It's your brain literally swimming in toxic waste from the previous day. Now imagine this happening night after night, week after week, year after year. These toxins aren't just sitting there. They're corroding your brain like rust on an old pipe. But here's the truth. This isn't your fault. You didn't choose to live in a world full of these brain-eating toxins. You didn't create this modern lifestyle that destroys healthy sleep patterns. You're trapped in a toxic world, and that was never your choice. Want to know the shocking truth? Big pharmaceutical companies have known this for years. They're watching millions of Americans lose their memory. Why? Because memory loss is a $3 billion industry. They profit from your confused mornings. They profit from the names you forget. They profit from your last memories, while selling you expensive solutions that only mask the symptoms. They stay silent about the real cause. In other words, they don't just profit from your suffering, they depend on it, and they certainly don't want you to know what I'm about to share. The worst part? While they profit from this, your memory could be deteriorating right now. In fact, these toxins may already be affecting your brain. Want to know if you're at risk? If so, I need you to do something important for me now. Oxford University created a simple test that can reveal if these brain-eating toxins are already affecting your memory. Take a moment. Be honest with yourself as I ask these questions. Think about your day yesterday. Did it take more than a second to remember what you ate? When talking with your children or grandchildren, do you sometimes lose your train of thought or have trouble finding the right word? Have you recently walked into the kitchen or bedroom and stood there, unable to remember why you went there? Those reminder notes you started putting around the house for tasks you used to do without thinking. When did that start? And now, be very honest with yourself. Looking at the past few months, do you feel like your memory isn't what it used to be? If you nodded yes, I need you to pay close attention now. These brain-eating toxins may already be feeding on your acetylcholine. And if you answered yes to more than one question, I hate to say this, but the damage may be more serious than you imagine. Your acetylcholine levels may be dangerously low, exactly like my father's were. And here's what you need to understand. Unless you eliminate these toxins from your brain, your acetylcholine levels will never recover, and your most precious memories will keep slipping through your fingers, one by one. So there I was, watching my father's memories disappear day after day. And one question wouldn't leave my mind. How do you fight these toxins? How do you restore healthy acetylcholine levels? Watching someone you love struggle with their own memory, it changes you. Every time my father looked at me with that confused expression, every time he forgot a family story he loved to tell, it felt like a piece of my heart was being torn out. But then I remembered something. For over 20 years, I've worked as a researcher. I've built connections with some of the brightest minds in science and medicine. Someone, somewhere in my network, had to know how to fight these brain-eating toxins. That's when I realized Dr. Richard Miller, the genius behind that groundbreaking study I mentioned earlier. I became a man on a mission. Dozens of phone calls, countless emails, messages sent in the middle of the night to colleagues. I would do whatever it took to reach Dr. Miller. And finally, I got him on the phone. I completely broke down. I told him about my father, about watching that proud, brilliant man lose himself because of these toxins. I explained everything I had learned about acetylcholine and these brain-eating toxins. And then I shared something that made Dr. Miller lean forward. I talked about all the failed attempts, the Aricept, which didn't work, the Exelon, which failed, the Namenda, which made no difference at all, even the highly recommended omega-3s and nootropics. Nothing worked. Dr. Miller, I said, my voice probably shaking a little, there has to be a solution. There has to be a way to fight this. The line went silent. Total silence. 15 seconds that felt like an eternity. Then Dr. Miller spoke, and what he said next changed everything.
Mark,
he said, his voice suddenly animated.
After our study revealed the true cause of memory loss and cognitive decline, I became obsessed with finding a solution. And that obsession led me to something extraordinary.
He told me about Rajesh Kumar, a 92-year-old man from Bangalore, India. Not just living independently, not just with a sharp mind, but winning 3 international programming competitions, beating tech geniuses from Silicon Valley, beating MIT and Stanford graduates at 92 years old. But that wasn't even the most surprising part. India, one of the most polluted countries in the world, was producing 70% of the world's best mathematicians. And get this, 40% of computer science PhDs at places like Stanford and MIT came from India. India? I couldn't understand it. If these brain-eating toxins are everywhere and are destroying memories, how is it that these elderly Indians keep their minds so sharp even at 90? The answer took my breath away. During an interview, Kumar revealed something fascinating. He talked about an ancient home remedy, a tradition passed down through generations in his family. In a family that worked with the sacred temple elephants. In India, elephants aren't just animals. They're considered living manifestations of Lord Ganesha, the god of wisdom. You've heard the expression elephant memory, right? It's not just a saying. These animals can recognize a friendly face, even after 40 years. They're able to remember routes spanning thousands of miles, as if they had GPS built into their brains. And in some zoos, they're trained to use their trunks as brushes and can remember hundreds of paintings and reproduce them without visual aid. Kumar's ancestors were mahouts, elephant trainers. For generations, they observed these magnificent creatures in nature. They noticed which plants these wise animals sought out, what they ate, when they ate. Over time, they developed what they call the elephant memory recipe. Using just 3 simple ingredients, these animals naturally protected themselves from brain-eating toxins. Suddenly, everything started making sense. This explains why India, despite all its pollution, has the lowest Alzheimer's rate in the world, just 0.1%. Compared to the frightening 11% in the United States. And study after study confirms this. Elderly Indians maintain sharp memories into their 80s, 90s. The connection was undeniable. I found myself torn between skepticism and hope. Could something so simple, born from ancestral wisdom, be validated by modern science? Could this really be the answer? What exactly was in this elephant memory recipe? And could it save my father's memories? But Dr. Miller wasn't finished yet, and what he said next left me speechless. He explained that the traditional recipe by itself wouldn't solve all of my father's problems. These Indian elders had been consuming these ingredients since childhood. But then he shared something brilliant.
Think about it, Mark. An elephant eats 300 pounds of food every day. These incredible animals, which can weigh up to 6 tons, can remember faces and complex commands even after almost 4 decades.
And then came his discovery. If these memory-protecting compounds are powerful enough to maintain cognitive function in a 6-ton elephant with a brain 3 times larger than ours, imagine their impact when concentrated for a human brain, which weighs only 3 pounds. Think about it. While an elephant needs 300 pounds of food per day to maintain its impressive memory, these same compounds would have an exponentially more powerful effect on our much smaller brains. Dr. Miller had cracked the code. He studied this elephant memory recipe thoroughly and isolated the exact nutrients that fight memory loss. And now, I'm going to share these nutrients with you. Let me tell you about the first miraculous ingredient, Bacopa monnieri. But not just any Bacopa. You see, in India's sacred forests, there's a special variety that wild elephants travel miles to find. It's the same rare form that Indian temples have carefully preserved for over 2,000 years. When this ancestral form of Bacopa enters your brain, something extraordinary happens. Imagine a specialized cleaning crew working silently while you sleep, scouring every corner of your mind, finding those harmful brain-eating toxins, neutralizing them, and gently eliminating them. It's like spring cleaning for your brain. Dr. Michael Chen, one of America's most respected neurologists, was so impressed with what he saw that he conducted a groundbreaking study, published in the prestigious Journal of Neuroscience. His research finally proved what those wise elephant trainers had known for generations. This special form of Bacopa literally helps your brain clean itself. The results left even the most skeptical scientists speechless. Dr. Miller shared with me a study he conducted with 547 people, all facing serious memory problems. People who couldn't remember their own grandchildren's names. People who got lost going to the grocery store. People who had already lost hope of having a sharp mind again. And in just a few weeks, they started remembering things they thought were lost forever. But what really excited Dr. Miller was this. This special Bacopa doesn't just fight brain-eating toxins. Recent studies revealed it does something even more incredible. It creates what scientists call a protective barrier around brain cells. Think of it as an invisible umbrella protecting your precious memories from damage. But here's the part that will surprise you. Researchers at Harvard University discovered that Bacopa monnieri doesn't just restore memory. It also regulates blood sugar levels, which means you can finally play with your grandchildren at the park without feeling that terrible dizziness or sudden fatigue. But that was just the beginning of what Dr. Miller had discovered. You see, cleaning these toxins from the brain is like unclogging a car engine. But to make that engine run at full power again, more was needed. We needed to increase acetylcholine levels, that crucial compound that helps recover that crystal clear memory you once had. That's when Dr. Miller shared something fascinating about our second hero, ginkgo biloba. "Mark," he said, "look what happens when elephants find a ginkgo tree in nature. These brilliant creatures known for their extraordinary memory stop everything they're doing. They spend hours carefully selecting and eating its leaves. At first, this behavior puzzled researchers until a groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease in 2023 revealed something extraordinary. Ginkgo biloba doesn't just help with memory, it actually helps your brain produce more acetylcholine naturally. Remember how acetylcholine is like your brain's Google, the substance that helps you instantly remember names, faces, and memories? Well, ginkgo biloba helps your brain manufacture more of this substance naturally. Dr. Miller shared with me the results of an impressive study. They separated two groups of people aged 60 to 70, both with memory difficulties. One group received ginkgo biloba, the other didn't, and after just a few weeks, the difference was remarkable. The ginkgo group could remember complex information with incredible accuracy. They recalled names, faces, and events with ease. Their minds were sharper, clearer, more focused, while the other group continued struggling with memory lapses. But as if that wasn't powerful enough, researchers at the University of Michigan discovered something even more impressive. Ginkgo biloba dramatically improves blood circulation, especially in the extremities that suffer most with age. A study published in the American Heart Association journal showed that patients who used ginkgo biloba experienced up to a 57% increase in blood flow to hands and feet. What does this mean in practice? It means being able to button your shirt without your fingers getting numb and shaky. It means being able to walk through the mall with your grandchildren without feeling that terrible leg pain that forces you to sit every few meters. It means no more waking up in the middle of the night with tingling in your hands or having to massage your feet for several minutes before you can get out of bed. When Dr. Miller combined this powerful ginkgo with the special bacopa, the results were simply incredible. But then, he discovered something that would change everything. A third ingredient so powerful that it doesn't just help recover lost memories, it helps preserve them. When he first told me about this, I admit I had trouble believing it. But the science behind it left no room for doubt. It was a compound with a complicated name, phosphatidylserine. But don't let the name fool you. This may be the most powerful natural compound for protecting your memory. You see, when studying the wise elephants, Dr. Miller noticed something curious. These magnificent creatures spent hours selecting specific plants, the same plants their ancestors had eaten for generations, the same plants that kept their memory sharp for decades. When Dr. Miller analyzed these plants, he discovered something extraordinary. They were rich in a pure form of phosphatidylserine, naturally extracted from sunflowers and soy. And what this compound does in your brain seems almost impossible. Imagine if you could build a protective fortress around your memories, a shield so powerful that it preserves and protects your brain cells, while keeping acetylcholine levels exactly where they should be. That's exactly what phosphatidylserine does. The prestigious journal Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience published something extraordinary. They discovered that phosphatidylserine creates what scientists call a protective matrix around your neurons, protecting them from stress and radio frequency and defending them against aging, blocking brain-eating toxins. But what really caught my attention was this. In one of the most rigorous clinical trials ever conducted, we're talking about the gold standard of scientific research, scientists tested this remarkable compound on men and women between 50 and 80 years old, people like you and like my father, all facing memory problems. And what happened next surprised everyone. The brain scans told a story that seemed too good to be true. These people weren't just maintaining their memories, they were getting sharper. All because phosphatidylserine wasn't just protecting memory during the day, it was revolutionizing these people's sleep. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine revealed that patients who used phosphatidylserine experienced 73% deeper and more restorative sleep. And here's what's truly fascinating. During these deep sleep nights, the brain was literally cleaning house, eliminating accumulated toxins and consolidating all important memories, like a nighttime maintenance system that worked in perfect harmony. Now, imagine what happens when you combine the three natural memory miracles: First, the Bacopa manieri, like a specialized cleaning crew, hunting and eliminating those brain-devouring toxins while regulating your blood sugar. Then, ginkgo biloba, naturally increasing your acetylcholine levels, bringing back that crystal clear memory you used to have, while improving blood circulation to your hands and feet. And finally, phosphatidylserine, creating that protective shield around your brain cells, preserving and defending your most precious memories, enhancing restorative sleep that helps eliminate toxins accumulated in the brain. Together, they create something extraordinary, something that can change everything for you. A complete solution that not only protects your memories, but also unlocks the peak cognitive performance lying dormant in your brain. But you know what? At the end of the day, this isn't about scientific studies or complicated names. It's about the moment you walk into a room and immediately remember why you're there. It's about sitting with your grandchildren and telling stories about their parents when they were little, without forgetting any detail. It's about flipping through an old photo album and seeing each precious memory return, with the clarity of a new day. It's about living the rest of your life without that sharp, focused mind you had 10, 20, even 30 years ago. It's about reclaiming your life. The moment I discovered these 3 natural ingredients, something simply clicked. You see, my father had been testing various supplements for years. Some worked a little, others didn't work at all, and some were just expensive disappointments. But there was something different about these 3 specific ingredients, perhaps because they come from nature itself, or because they've been used for thousands of years, or even because of how Dr. Miller discovered them. I knew I had to try. I reached out to my contacts in the natural supplement industry, spent weeks searching for the purest forms of each ingredient, ensuring everything was according to Dr. Miller's exact specifications, and then something wonderful happened. Dad, would you mind telling what happened next?
You know, I almost didn't try it. I mean, after everything I had already tried, after all those doctors told me, after so many disappointed hopes, who wouldn't be skeptical?
Yes, I completely understand why you felt that way. Anyone would feel the same after everything you went through.
But you know what made me give it a chance? It wasn't all those scientific studies you showed me, or even the impressive credentials. It was when you told me about those elephants, about how nature gave them everything they needed, about how these ingredients had been used for thousands of years. Something about that story made sense to me. So I thought, well, I'll lose the first few weeks without high expectations. And indeed, I started noticing small changes, a bit more energy in the morning, feeling less confused after lunch, better sleep quality at night. Seeing these small changes was like watching a soldier get back up after a battle. That's a good way to put it. At first, the changes were so subtle, like when I started remembering where I left my glasses or finding my keys without turning the whole house upside down. Your mother noticed it before I did. In fact, she said I was more present during our conversations, that I wasn't repeating the same questions, and that I followed her stories better.
You know, Dad, there's something I never told you about that time. One morning, I arrived at the house, as usual, and normally I would find you in your chair, somewhat lost, with the TV on, but not really paying attention to it. But that day was different. I came in and couldn't find you anywhere in the house. Then I heard noises coming from the garage, and there you were, organizing your old tool collection, each tool in its right place. But what really touched me was when you looked up and smiled, and started telling me stories about each tool, when you acquired them, what you built with them, even that old sledgehammer that Grandpa gave you. For most people, organizing tools might not seem like a big deal, but just a few months earlier, a few months before trying these natural ingredients, you couldn't even remember if you had breakfast.
I didn't know how much that meant to you.
It meant everything, Dad, because I wasn't just getting my father back. Your grandchildren were getting their grandfather back. My mother was getting her husband back.
What really surprised me was that it wasn't just about remembering things. It was feeling like I was back to being myself. I started enjoying our family dinners again, following all the conversations and even telling my old jokes, which your mother would probably prefer I had forgotten. But the real moment when I realized something had changed was during my checkup. The doctor performed those memory tests that I always dreaded. In the middle of the exam, he stopped, looked at his papers, and then at me. He said, "Your scores are better than most of my patients in their 30s. That's right. And that's when I knew these natural ingredients weren't just working, they were doing something extraordinary.
And it wasn't just you, Dad.
As soon as the news spread, when you started telling people at church, when your mother shared with her friends, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. People were asking if they could try it, if I could help their parents, if there was any way to get these ingredients.
What happened after that still surprises me. Since I still had some of the formula left, I decided to share it with some close friends and family, people who were going through the same difficulties. And then something beautiful began to happen. Messages started coming in, calls that made me cry, stories that touched my heart. A 72-year-old retired teacher who could finally read her favorite books again. A grandfather who remembered all his grandchildren's birthdays. A 65-year-old artist who rediscovered her passion for painting. But you know what really moved me? It wasn't just the big moments. It was the little things. People who no longer needed to spend 30 minutes looking for their glasses, who could remember the grocery list without having to write it down, who could follow episodes of their favorite series without getting lost. And that's when it hit me. Why wasn't anyone talking about this? Why weren't doctors recommending these natural ingredients? Why were so many people still suffering needlessly? The answer, unfortunately, is quite simple. These ingredients come directly from nature. They can't be patented. They can't be controlled. And that means something very specific. Big companies can't charge hundreds of dollars for them. They can't make millions in profit from this. They can't control who has access to these ingredients. Think about it. If you could take care of your brain health naturally, if you could keep your memory sharp, if you could do all this with natural and accessible ingredients, why would anyone spend $300, $400, or even $500 a month on other alternatives? They wouldn't. And that's exactly why this information isn't widely shared. But I decided something needed to change. I knew I couldn't continue mixing ingredients in small batches. I couldn't try to help everyone from my kitchen counter anymore. There had to be a better way. So I made it my mission to find a partner who could obtain these ultra-pure ingredients, ensure that each batch met the highest quality standards, and make it accessible to all the people who needed it. I spent 6 months researching factories, testing different suppliers, making sure every detail was perfect. I needed someone who could provide the specific nutrients at maximum purity, follow every FDA safety guideline to the letter, produce right here in the United States, and maintain the exact proportions that Dr. Miller discovered. And finally, after countless meetings, after visiting dozens of facilities, after hundreds of quality tests, I finally found the ideal partner. And together, we created something extraordinary. Something that combines nature's 3 most powerful ingredients in their purest and most effective forms, in the exact proportions discovered by Dr. Miller. I'm proud to introduce you to Neuro Sharp. Neuro Sharp is the first and only solution that fights brain-devouring toxins and increases acetylcholine production, literally stopping and even reversing your memory loss and cognitive decline. Think about that for a moment. Not just stopping memory loss, but actually turning back time. Each bottle of Neuro Sharp is produced right here in the United States in our GMP-certified facility. And when we say pure, we mean pure, 100% natural ingredients. No artificial additives, no genetically modified organisms, no harmful preservatives. The protocol couldn't be simpler. Just 2 easy-to-swallow capsules a day with breakfast, and that's it. From that moment on, your brain begins to absorb these powerful memory nutrients. They locate the toxins that are stealing your memories, day after day. You'll start to notice your brain becoming younger, sharper, more energetic. It's like turning back time to a healthier and happier version of yourself. The version that enjoys every moment with the people you love. And most importantly, the version that keeps your precious memories protected. Not just now, but for the decades to come. Just take a moment and imagine, never again losing your train of thought mid-sentence. Never again experiencing those embarrassing moments of forgetfulness. Never again worrying about cognitive decline. Instead, imagine yourself with a mind so sharp that you're ready for whatever the next decades bring. I'm talking about total independence, taking care of your home, your work, playing with your grandchildren, even starting that new hobby you've been thinking about for ages. These are your golden years, and you deserve to enjoy them doing what you love, with the people you love, creating and storing each precious memory along the way, just like hundreds of other people are already doing right now.
It was only when I turned 50 that I noticed my memory getting worse and my sleep becoming lighter. But what happened next scared me. I completely forgot the way home and spent 3 hours lost in my own neighborhood. And when I started using Neuro Sharp, everything changed. And now you can also have the same mental clarity that I experienced. Sleep more deeply, think more clearly, without ever worrying about your memory letting you down.
Mark, after 50 days, I feel like I'm 30 again. Thank you. At first, it's little things like forgetting names of people you've known for years. When you have a family history of memory loss, like I do, you start to fear the worst. But when I discovered NeuroSharp, I decided to take control of my cognitive health. And when you start using it, you realize how easy it is to keep your memory sharp. Then you can live without that constant mental fatigue.
Mark, after 4 months, I can converse with total confidence. I can finally enjoy life without worrying about cognitive decline. First, I started leaving the stove on and forgetting important appointments. But what scared me the most was when I couldn't remember my grandchildren's names during a family dinner. It was only after I found NeuroSharp that I realized there was hope. And when I started using it, I went back to cooking without that constant fear of causing an accident.
Mark, you gave me back my independence. After just 2 months, I can now take care of my daily tasks and enjoy moments with my family without feeling like a burden to them. Thank you. These results are amazing, aren't they? And now, I see that you're still here, still following along, and that tells me something very important about you. You're not someone who simply accepts things as they are. You're someone who takes mental health seriously, someone who values independence, someone who refuses to let age define your capabilities.
And at this moment, you're probably thinking, this is exactly what I need. How do I get started? How soon will I see results? Let me be completely honest with you. Creating something this powerful and pure isn't easy. These premium ingredients come from specific regions, from carefully selected suppliers, and from various parts of the world. Each batch takes 90 days to produce. Each ingredient is tested. Each step is monitored. Each bottle is inspected until it's perfect. That's why we can only produce a limited quantity each month. And when it's gone, it's really gone. And it can take up to 3 months until the next batch is ready. But don't worry, I'll show you how to secure access to this revolutionary formula. First, let me tell you how to get the best results. We recommend taking 2 Neuro Sharp capsules daily, right after breakfast, for at least 30 days. The reason is simple. Science shows that the longer you use the ingredients, the better they work. That's why most people choose the 3-month supply. And our most committed customers opt for the complete 6-month package. With 6 months, you're protected from stockouts, waiting lists, and any interruption in your progress. All of this right here on this website and nowhere else. And since NeuroSharp is the only solution that tackles both problems at once, the brain-devouring toxins and low acetylcholine levels, this is your chance, your opportunity, your moment to regain your sharp memory, to turn the tables, to write your own success story. Speaking of stories worth telling, the other day I witnessed something that touched my heart. I was sitting with my father, watching him organize his old military medals, listening to him tell stories about each one, seeing that sparkle return to his eyes. And I thought to myself, how do you put a price on moments like these? How do you measure the value of memories that were almost lost? What's it worth to see someone you love come back to life? Now, I know what you might be thinking. Here comes the sales pitch, right? And look, I understand. I really do. To be honest, I struggled with this part myself. Because how do you put a price on something like this? How do you measure the value of someone's memory, their independence, their dignity? Do you know how much most people spend trying to improve their memory? Some are paying $400 a month for prescription medications. Others try every $200 supplement they see out there. Many spend thousands on specialists. And worst of all, most of the time, none of it works. Think about it. People spend $5 on coffee without thinking twice, $150 on a dinner out, $1,000 on a new phone. But when it comes to protecting their memories, their independence, their connections with family, they hesitate. When we developed NeuroSharp, our manufacturing partners said, look, with these premium ingredients, you need to charge at least $300 per bottle. And they weren't wrong. But here's the thing. We're competing for Innovation of the Year award. It's a golden opportunity to bring this solution to many more people. But for that, we need to reach 6,000 people. Right now, we're at 5,600. So I made a decision. Instead of charging $300 or even $150, I want to make this accessible to all the people who really need it, while there's still time before this opportunity closes, for just $69 per bottle. And since you're here, listening to me until now, since you understand what's at stake, I want to offer you something even better, something our most loyal customers have already discovered. You see, Most people who try Neuro Sharp don't buy just one bottle. They come back to buy more. Why? Because they're seeing results, because they're feeling the difference, because they're reclaiming their lives. And that got me thinking, what if we could make everything even more accessible for people who take this seriously, for those who understand that consistency makes all the difference? If you choose the 6-month kit, the price drops to just $49 per bottle. That's less than your breakfast, less than a fast food lunch, less than most people spend on snacks from vending machines. But here's what you need to know. Remember the Innovation Award I mentioned? The one that can help us bring this solution to even more people? We only need 400 more people to qualify. That's it, just 400. And as soon as we reach that number, this special price disappears. And I mean that literally. Now you have 3 options. You can secure the 6-month kit, lock in the best price, and save almost $120. You can try the 3-month kit, still with a great discount, and see how it works for you. Or you can start with 1 bottle, try it, and decide later. The choice is completely yours. Just select the option that seems right for you. Click the orange button below and take the first step. And remember, you're not just making a purchase, you're making an investment in your memories, in your independence, in your future. But please understand, as soon as we reach 6,000 customers and qualify for the award, these special prices will be gone. So take a moment, consider your options, and make your decision. The orange button is right down here, and your memories deserve to be protected, starting today. Now, I have even more good news for you. You see, when people ask me what's holding them back from making a decision, they usually mention 3 main concerns. The financial investment, including shipping costs, not knowing which techniques really work to improve memory, and dependence on expensive prescription medications. So I decided to eliminate all these concerns at once. That's why I'm including 3 special gifts with your order today. And these aren't random freebies, they're carefully selected tools to accelerate your results. Let me show you exactly what you'll receive. First, those who purchase the 3 or 6 bottle kits automatically become elite members, with 100% free shipping, gift vouchers from partner companies, and special discounts on future purchases. Why? Because on that day when my own father couldn't recognize me, I made a promise. I promised I would remove each and every obstacle between people and better memory. I've received hundreds of messages from people saying, I want to try it, but the shipping cost makes it hard to justify the purchase. And that broke my heart, because I know what's at stake here. I know that each day we wait, these toxins continue attacking the brain. So I decided that not even shipping costs should hold you back. That's why we're absorbing 100% of shipping fees on the most popular packages. So you can focus on what really matters, protecting your memories, and giving your family the peace of mind they deserve. Third gift, you'll receive instant access to the Memory Masters Protocol, a guide that has been sold out for 2 years. You might be wondering why this book became so rare. The truth is that it revealed too much. It exposed how big pharmaceutical companies have been hiding natural solutions that work better than their expensive medications. It showed how a forgotten alpine herb can improve memory recall by up to 312%, and revealed a 3-step nighttime ritual discovered by Japanese researchers that rejuvenates aging brain cells while you sleep. This information was so powerful that today, when you find a copy online, it costs $77. But today, it will be yours, free of charge. And there's more. You'll also receive the Natural Memory Vault Guide, a complete resource that answers a question many of us ask. How can I protect my memory without relying on expensive medications? Inside, you'll discover natural solutions for each of the biggest memory concerns that work with your body, not against it. Solutions without endless lists of side effects. And finally, solutions that can save you thousands of dollars in medical expenses. This guide normally costs $67, but today it will be yours for free. Just select your package below. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds too good to be true, and I understand that feeling. In fact, I'd be concerned if you weren't at least a bit skeptical. That's exactly why what I'm about to share now is so important. You see, I wanted to make this decision completely risk-free for you. So I'm doing something that might seem crazy to some people. Our legal team determined that we should create a treatment guarantee. Here's how it works. By law, you know that every product has a 15-day guarantee, right? However, we know that 15 days isn't enough time to see any results. People who promise you that just want your money. That's why we have a set of 3 powerful guarantees. The first one is a 6-month guarantee to use the treatment at your own pace. It's 2025, and if you send me a message in 2026 wanting to cancel your treatment, I'll refund 100% of the money you invested in Neuro Sharp. As I said, we're not a company that lives off profits, and this guarantee is living proof that we want you to get results. Our second guarantee is what I call medical insurance. It works like this. You can take Neuro Sharp, go to your doctor, and show our formula to them. If they say it's worthless, we'll refund your purchase. I'll record a video apologizing to you and even refund $1,000 to your bank account the same day for having wasted your time. And finally, as I said, you have a 6-month guarantee on Neuro Sharp. If you use Neuro Sharp for 6 months and our formula doesn't work for you, we'll pay for 10 years of health insurance of your choice with the best insurer in your city. Whatever plan you want, we will cover it as an apology for having wasted your hope. Scary, right? I know. And all of this is established in a contract that arrives in your email right after confirming your Neuro Sharp order. You can read it, take it to your lawyer, do whatever you want, and sign it. Right after that, you'll be covered by our super legal protection. We do this because I don't want your money if I can't help you. We believe in Neuro Sharp's potential, and our formula is so effective that if it didn't work, our company would have already gone bankrupt just from these legal costs.
I was very apprehensive about buying the product, but when I saw that the guarantee would be something sent in writing that I could show to my lawyer, I felt much more secure. So I bought the product and it arrived very quickly. I have had no regrets since then.
I'm offering our unprecedented 180-day guarantee. Yes, a whole half year for you to try everything for yourself. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone offer such a generous guarantee? The answer is simple. After seeing thousands of success stories, after witnessing lives being transformed, we know, without any doubt, that Neuro Sharp works. Think about it for a moment. If I'm wrong, you've only lost a few minutes watching this video, and all you need to do is send a simple email and get your money back. But if I'm right, and I want to be very clear about this, I'm not asking you to make a final decision today. All I'm asking is that you try it. I'm not asking for a definitive yes. I'm asking for a maybe for 180 days. Use everything I'm offering you to protect your memory, increase your cognitive function, and ward off the brain-devouring toxins. Use it to secure your mental clarity once and for all. And if you don't see results, you don't pay a penny, and you still keep all the bonuses for free. Everything I've shared so far might go against what you've heard from doctors, from pharmaceutical companies, and maybe even from people close to you. But tell me something. How many of them have actually solved their own memory problems? Now, the decision is in your hands. You can continue on the same path, hoping that memory problems don't get worse, wondering if you'll recognize the faces of the people you love a few years from now. Or you can take control of your mental health right now, with zero risk and everything to gain. The choice is yours, and the button is right below. Remember, as soon as you choose your package, you'll have instant access to both digital guides. Shipping will be free on the larger packages, and you'll have a full 180 days to experience the results for yourself. But please don't take too long. These special bonuses are only available on this page, and once you leave, they may disappear forever. The button is right here below. Click now to secure your package while you still can. Now, I understand if you're still hesitating, if you've tried other memory supplements before, if you've felt disappointed. In fact, that's exactly why I need to tell you something crucial. You see, Neuro Sharp isn't just another supplement. It's fundamentally different. While other companies cut costs, while they use generic ingredients in minimal doses, we've partnered with renowned research institutions like Harvard and the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine to create something that never existed before. Let me show you what happens when you make your decision today. First, you'll be taken to our 100% secure payment page, which looks exactly like this one. We use the same military-grade security system with 256-bit SSL encryption, the same technology used by Amazon and Microsoft, because your security is a priority for us. As soon as your order is confirmed, our team springs into action. In just minutes, your package will be prioritized for immediate shipping, and in just a few days, a discreet package arrives at your home. Inside, you'll find everything you need to start your journey. 2 small capsules before breakfast. That's all you need to start fighting the toxins that devour your brain, to start increasing acetylcholine production, to start protecting your mind for many, many years to come. But now, you're at a crossroads, and I need to be completely honest with you, because what I'm about to say isn't easy to hear. One of the paths, the more familiar one, leads exactly where you'd expect. More forgotten names, more lost memories, more worried looks from the people you love. And here's the hardest truth of all. This isn't just about you. Think about your family for a moment. Have you considered what memory loss might mean for them? The average cost of memory loss care today is $7,000 per month. That's $84,000 per year. Money your children might need for their own families, their own dreams, their own futures. I know this from personal experience. Let me share something I've never told anyone. My own mother almost hurt herself with garden shears because she didn't recognize me during a severe episode of memory loss. That moment changed everything for our family, but thanks to Neuro Sharp, we never had to live with that fear again. And thousands of other families today also live with that same peace of mind. But here's something you need to understand. Time is not on our side. Every day, these toxins continue their silent work. And at some point, nobody knows exactly when, the damage may become irreversible. That's why this decision matters so much. The other path, the one I hope you choose, leads to something completely different. Crystal clear memories, conversations with confidence, proud smiles from the people you love, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're protected. You'll have Harvard research ingredients working in your favor, fighting the toxins, enhancing your brain's natural processes, keeping your mind sharp and full of energy. Imagine impressing your family at the next holiday gathering. Imagine remembering every precious moment with your grandchildren. Imagine never having to worry about your memory again. The choice is yours. But remember what I told you before. You're protected by our unprecedented guarantee. You're not taking any risk by making this decision today. And with this special price, with all the bonuses we mentioned, this might be the easiest decision of your life. But I need to be clear. This offer, these bonuses, this price, won't be available for much longer. The button is right here below. Click now to select your package and join the thousands of people who have already transformed their lives. Thank you for allowing me to share this decision with you today. The button is waiting right below. Make your decision now, while there's still time.